Mixing a straight dough by hand. This is the 40% whole wheat overnight dough. The schedule for this dough is mix the dough in the early afternoon. About 5 hours later, it should be ready to divide and shape into loaves. Then you put the loaves wrapped in their baskets. These basket with a loaf in it, wrapped in a plastic baggie. In the refrigerator overnight, and this allows you to bake bread first thing in the morning, and it's just a really nice way to start your day. So you'll have noticed if you spent time with my book that there are a variety of different schedules. Some breads will work for you on your weekend, other breads will work for you on a weeknight. Depending on your schedule, you'll find one in there that will work for you, I'm sure. So this dough is auto-leased for about 20 minutes. You can take a look at it before I begin the mix stage. And now we're going to mix it by hand. I keep a well of water handy. And I dip said hand in the water. This basically just allows me to do the mix with my hand without the dough, the salt, or the yeast sticking to my hand. And the first thing to do is, since the salt and the yeast are on top, is I want to enfold the dough around those things before I start to use the pincer method to begin to mix the dough. And you'll notice I just reach my hand all the way underneath the dough, and I grab it from the bottom and I just fold it over. It's very similar to the folding action that we use later in this mix process. So I do that just a few times until it's all enclosed. Then we start the pincer method. So what I'm going to do is, again, I wet my hand. I'm not worried about how often I wet my hand. It's not like a minimum of 3 times or a maximum of 5 or 6. It's just whatever works for you. You introduce a little bit of water, so what? Anyway, we're going to start with this kind of motion. We're just going to squeeze that once, twice, usually 5 or 6 times to go across the entire dough ball, like that. And then we start to fold it over. You see I have one working hand and one that manages the tub. So I fold it over upon itself again, with a little more moisture. So mixing is really just a series of cut and fold, cut and fold, cut and fold, until all the ingredients are fully incorporated. You can see it and you can feel it. It's not hard. If you're not sure, do it a little longer. When I operate, I'm going slow for the camera. When I operate in real time, this mix takes me about 2 minutes. And I also have the benefit that you may not yet have, but I hope you learn, of the experience of touch. And that's it for the dough mix. I'm just going to put one more fold in. And you can see how simple it is to mix these bread doughs by hand. The only other thing I like to do, I like to take the temperature of the dough at the end of its mix. I do this for all my mixes. Just want to see if I hit the target temperature was 78 degrees. This dough I mixed a little warm. I mixed to 80 and 80.3 degrees. It's in the range. If it's too hot, it'll move a lot faster. If you mix the dough too cold, it'll take a lot longer.